Right, this is the second part of my quantum wing strip and rebuild, and I have my sail back now from the menders, and it's all laid out on the floor here ready to be reassembled. I'm just going to make everything nice and flat. That's nice. And then what I've had done is the repairs on the front here because there was a tear in this sail, so I've had that repaired. There's one on that side, and for balance he's put another one on this side for me, exactly the same, and I've also had the leading edge replaced with one that doesn't delaminate, so that's all done. So because we're trying to put this back in the order that it came apart, the first thing I need to do is get these mylar strips, which are the leading edge sections, into the pocket which is between the sail and the leading edge. Now there doesn't seem to be any openings at the other end. There's on the mylar strip there is a little hole at that end, which I assume is so you can pull it through, but there is nothing at this end that allows me to get into there to pull it through, so I'm going to have to try and thread it through manually. I've done one, and with a bit of persuasion it did go, but it was the first part goes in quite easily, and then you struggle a bit on the last 2 feet trying to get that part in, but it's all gone in there now. So I've gone in as far as I can, so you can see that the mylar is sitting in there now, and it's gone all the way to the wingtip and it's completely flat. I'm thinking to put the thing together, it's better to be on its back, because I can now get the access panel from here to get all the metal work back inside there, because that all opens up. And I'm going to start, this is the plan, I'm going to start with the keel, to put the keel in place, and then I thought I'd put the leading edges in, and then the cross tube, and then start connecting wires up, and then I'll flip it over onto its back, and we'll start putting the top wires on, and we'll see how it goes. So next thing is this mylar into the leading edge, so I'll put that on time lapse and you can watch what's going on. Okay, that is the mylars in. They've gone in a little bit further than they were before, so I think they've moved out a little bit, so they've gone all the way in, so you can just see the top of it there, and the same on the other side, and they've gone all the way down to the wingtip down there, so you don't need to get a wire on the hole at the other end to pull it through, and even if you did, there is no access point from this end to allow you to pull it, so it really is just a case of teasing it in until it's gone all the way. But that's the leading edge mylars in. So my next plan, I think I'm going to put the leading edge spars in now, and we'll see how they go. Right, we're just looking at the leading edges here. I've got them on a desk, and we're trying to see if there's any set on them, because when they're left rigged for a long time they tend to take up the curve of the wing, because the leading edge of the wing is slightly curved. It's not straight because it's under tension. So we've laid it on a desk and we're just looking along the length of it and seeing if there is any curve, and there is a very slight curve on each one, but it is so tiny and they're both exactly the same way. I'm quite happy to put those in as they are. There is an official measurement that it's supposed to be no more than 1 millimeter in 600 out if you rotate it, but I don't have machinery accurate enough to measure that, so I'm going to do that by eye, and so I can look along that, and there is the tiniest bit of a set if I really look closely along it, but it is tiny, so I'm going to put those back in. Okay, the other thing we were trying to make sure we got right is the wings are obviously sided. You have a port side and a starboard side, but because it's on its back, it's a little bit difficult to remember which is port and which is starboard. You have to stand there and figure out which is left and which is right. Looking at all the aircraft that we've got in here, all of them have the writing on the port side. So that's the port side is the red one. The saying goes there's no port left in the bottle, and port is red, so the side with the writing on is the red side. So I'm going to lay the leading edges out with the red band on the writing side and the green band on the other side, and then I'm going to thread the leading edges in. The leading edges come in two parts, so you've got the end here, which is keyed into a bolt that's on the other part of the leading edge. And again, looking at a set on that, down its edge, it is virtually straight. There is virtually nothing. There's a hint of a set on that. But comparing it with the other one, on the other side, it's exactly the same set. And if I put this on the bench, the set is exactly the same on both, pulling back a little bit, which is what you'd expect because it's under tension all the time. So again, I'm quite happy to go with that. Reassembled. So I'm going to start with the main sections of the leading edge, which are these ones, and these are going to go in. I've set the red one, and the red one has to go turn around. In that way. And I'm thinking now I'm going to put the leading edges in the middle parts of the leading edge from the middle section, and I'm going to feed those along to there, and the end sections, which has the washout rods in it. The washout rods I'm going to put in from this end and try and guide the washout rod through its access hole there, and then marry them up in the middle, because they should match up where the inspection hatch is here. So we'll have a go at that again. Okay, we're going to redo this Mylar leading edge. We weren't completely happy with the way it was sitting in there by physically just pushing it in. So we've decided we're going to run a piece of wire up. There is, if we look carefully enough, there is a little access hole at the very end of it, inside here, in between where the stitching is of that webbing. There is an access hole that you can get into the pocket where the Mylar sits, and what we've done, we tried threading a piece of wire up it, but it just buckles back on itself, so we ended up using a nice long piece of conduit and shoved that up the hole, and then ran the wire up the conduit until it came out at the other end. So we've now got wire all the way through the leading edge sticking out at this end, and then attached to that we've got a piece of sacrificial string tied to the hole in the Mylar leading edge, so we can then pull that through, make it seat fully home, and then the string sits out the end, and if we just cut one piece of that string will then come out and leave just the hole. So we're just now going to pull that back through, and then I'm a lot happier with the way that's sitting. Okay, that Mylar is now in, and when it's seated properly, it seems to have about maybe 3 centimeters of clearance. Come on, focus, mate. Where are you? Focusing on that, that's it. So on there I've got about 3 centimeters of clearance between the leading edge and where the Mylar starts, and at the very end it's come out on the wire. We have the sacrificial piece of string on there, which has now been cut, and at this end, is there any way of seeing where the Mylar gets to? You can't really see, can you? But it just sits in the pocket at the end there. So now we've got that sacrificial piece of string cut. He should, with any luck, pull out. Why isn't it coming out? It's because it's on video, probably. You shouldn't have to, yeah. There he goes. And that's it, he's cleanly in there and seated all the way home. So a lot happier with that than I was by just pushing it in.